Besides some minor things that was cut out from this episode and only one scene that truly was important, this episode, in all honesty, in terms of adaptation-wise as a manga reader, I'm pretty impressed. And you probably think I'm sugarcoating it, you probably think I'm lying, and I'm just going to be straightforward with you. As I said in the past, if I see a problem with this series, I'm going to point it out. I pointed out already many flaws with this anime, but I will be the one to tell you, as a manga reader that really is passionate about the series and will point out the flaws of the anime when I see them, this was a fantastic episode. The only thing that was lacking was animation. But then again, it was a lot better than the last episode. Like, hell of a lot better. Like, way beyond last week's episode. It didn't feel just like a slideshow in the last like this episode compared to last episode. So that is definitely an improvement while keeping the quality of the adaptation for this episode. So I'm just gonna say right now that I noticed every single episode that comes out for the Tokyo Ghoul anime, Tokyo Ghoul Re, it's getting better and better. Like, it's progressively getting better. Now, just an FYI, just to clarify a couple things if all of you are kind of unaware, all of these episodes that have come out for Tokyo Ghoul Re has been outsourced. The, Studio Clown, they technically haven't been animating the series. They have been outsourcing everything for the series. And so none of these episodes in terms of animation and all that has been done by them, which it shows in a lot of ways that they're lacking in a lot of ways for production for this series. Like, they are not putting a lot of time onto it. They're allowing other people to do it, which sometimes can make it to where the quality varies. For instance, between the episodes, like last week's and now this one, it makes perfect sense why the quality just goes like this all the time. But every single episode, it is getting better. And I've noticed that. And if it continues down this path, I'm going to be honest here, we're looking at a fantastic anime series. And I cannot believe I'm actually saying that about the series right now. After how it started and how the first, 4 episodes were. I can't even believe I'm truly complimenting the anime as much as I am, or I'm going to in this video. Honestly, there wasn't really a whole lot changed with this episode. Like, in terms of core content, they were following the tracks. They followed the proper train tracks, and they got to the proper destination, even with the pacing. So, honestly, I have no problem with the pacing. I have no problem with the way the content was done. They did a fantastic job. The only thing that's going to be relatively confusing with this episode is going to be for the anime onlys. Anyone that has not seen Part 1 TG manga equivalent, I'm not talking about the anime, if you haven't seen Part 1 TG, this episode is going to be like, what? Like, you're going to be like, what the hell? You're going to be very confused with certain little key elements or reasons why certain characters do what they do throughout this episode. For instance, Hinami and how she stands up for Kaneki. I mean, there's a lot of little scenes here and there that have some significance that honestly won't hold a lot of weight if you're just an anime only that watched Season 1, Season 2, and then came into this. So, yeah, that's the only problem I think many are going to have. Now it's kind of the exact opposite. Instead of the manga readers probably being very upset now with the series, it's actually going to be the anime onlys that are going to be upset, which, once again, goes back to one of my big complaints I had with the series in the first place, because I didn't know who they were trying to market this series for. Because when it comes to anime, it obviously is meant to get more people to read the manga. But at the same time, they're alienating a big portion of the fan base, because not a lot of people, there is some people out there that do not want to read manga. They rather stay as anime only. I understand that. That's a legitimate reason, and I won't put anyone down for that. But the thing is with the way they're handling Season 3, now that they are trying to properly follow the manga, it's literally axing anime onlys from the equation. Now, it's obviously not meant for them. It's basically saying, go read Part 1 that we messed up real bad with the first 2 seasons. Go read it, and then you'll understand what we're doing now. And when they were doing the first few episodes, I was like, who are they marketing this for? Because obviously anime onlys are going to be confused, and then manga readers are going to be very upset, so it's just like, you're obviously not making this a proper adaptation for anyone. But then, now with these episodes, it's like they finally decided, okay, let's just make the manga readers happy. And that's what it seems like they're trying to do for the most part. Or at the very least, the team that worked on this episode and the last episode. But I've noticed a lot of complaining from anime onlys. A lot of people have been saying that they don't like these episodes, which is what I have been saying for years. Not just weeks, not since Tokyo Ghoul Re, but I've been saying this for years. If a re-anime ever came out, you're going to be confused, because there's a lot of things that are important, but people didn't want to listen. But okay, with that aside, though, let's talk about what they actually cut out or changed. So, there was a lot of censorship. And, I mean, there was some things that were shown, especially with Nutcracker getting impaled, certain things happened to Kaneki throughout the episode, but overall, there was some censorship here and there. But not as bad as the stuff that happened with Sato Pineapple and all that, Pineapple-chan. It wasn't as bad as censorship, so I will let it slide for the most part. Most of the time, I'm going to let censorship slide, because it's not entirely their fault. And I've said this already many times, so I'm not going to repeat what I said, but basically, there was some censorship, was to be expected, and, I mean, yeah, it honestly didn't bug me that much. Now, in terms of content that they did remove, or they changed around, one of the biggest things that was removed was the conclusion to Big Madam. Now, honestly, a lot of manga readers might have forgotten about this, and it does make sense, but at the same time, it holds a lot of weight for Juzo, Suzuya's character. And the reason why is because it gave his character closure. See, ever since Tokyo Ghoul Part 1, like the OG series, Juzo has been this troubled kid that has always been a problem child. He had a very horrible upbringing. He was an orphan boy raised by ghouls, or a ghoul parent, and he was a scrapper. That's the name I was looking for. He was a scrapper. And the thing about all of this is that he had this bad upbringing. Eventually, he was discovered by an individual that cared for him like a father figure. Really loved him. Shinohara raised Juzo ever since he found him, and became this figure in his life to put him down the proper path. At first, Juzo still was a very troubled child. He was someone that didn't really listen at all to authority or anything, and he was someone that, didn't want to listen to Shinohara at all. But in the owl fight, when Shinohara went down and became, basically a vegetable, he learned a long, hard life lesson, that you need to cherish the things you have before you lose it. And ever since then, it's made him change and calm down, and he's gained a family now. He has friends that care and look out for him, especially even in the anime episode, they showed that, which I appreciate that so much, how they showed the people around Suzuya that protect him from, harsh words from Big Madam, what, he was going to say, which, yes, you heard me right, he. So, they cut out something very significant at the end of that fight, or the end of Big Madam. When the glasses fall, which you see in the anime, you see the glasses fall and all that, and it's just a very silent scene in the anime. In the manga, Suzuya, he says, father, on top of that scene. Now, many of you are going to be like, huh? Like, you're going to be like, what? Like, and I know manga readers might have forgotten about this in some ways, but Big Madam was actually a dude. And it would explain a lot and give context to why Big Madam acted like he did throughout Tokyo Ghoul. For instance, why Big Madam did what he did to Juzo, and also did what he did, like, throughout, this arc and all of that. It explained a whole lot, and it gave closure to a lot of things with Juzo's character and what happened to him and all that. Why he was crushed, why his nuts were literally, gone and all that. It explains a whole lot. And so, I'm kind of upset that that was removed. That was a perfect little bow on top for his character, but they did keep the content that also mattered when it came to how the people around Suzuya is trying to keep him safe and keep him happy. So, I can let it slide for the most part. I don't normally like to say that, but I can let it slide just because the fact that, in all honesty, they still kept the context of the scene with the other stuff. But, yeah, Big Madam is actually a dude. A father. So, anyways, the other scenes that were kind of changed around was some Psycho stuff. So, Psycho was actually supposed to be watching the Pineapple and Kaneki fight since the very beginning. When the fight first really started, like when, the speakers came on and all that, you had it to where Psycho was supposed to go over there and be watching early on when it started. Before Hinami really started, going ham against, Pineapple, she was watching. And she actually got to see how this ghoul was protecting Kaneki, which turned out to be something very important for Psycho's character, her development for the future, and how she views ghouls in general. And so, that was kind of changed around. Psycho did pop up in the scene, FYI. She did pop up in the anime towards the end of the fight, but see, there wasn't a whole lot that she got to see. She didn't get to see the whole fight with, Hinami protecting Kaneki. She didn't get to see, the, change and how he was down for the count and then got back up and went kind of completely crazy and started fighting Pineapple. She didn't really get to see both sides of that. So that was changed around, which might have a little bit of a problem in the future with Psycho's character, but it's nothing too crazy just because of the fact that she did pop up for the scene. So they can kind of stretch it out a little bit, maybe say that she was around for a bit longer with future scenes for the series. Now, another thing that was kind of messed around with was Nutcracker. Now, when I say messed around with, there was just a certain line of dialogue that was kind of upset that was removed. Maybe I missed it. There's a likely possibility maybe I didn't see the dialogue and I missed it or whatever, or it wasn't properly translated, but there's a scene in the manga to when, Shirazu encounters Nutcracker to fight her. She actually says, "I can already feel your balls." She actually says that line, and that's just like, what? Yeah, she says something like that, and she says that in the manga, and I was waiting to hear that in the anime, but when I was watching the episode, I didn't see it. Now, like I said, I could be blind. Maybe I missed it. Maybe I missed, this scene, with her saying that, but I didn't see it, and I was a little bit upset about that, but it's my personal preference because I just thought it was a very entertaining scene from Nutcracker because of how she is and how she likes to slurp up nuts and stuff, so I was kind of disappointed in that being removed. Now, despite all that, everything else was added. Yeah, that's a very short comparison list, ain't it, this week? Yeah, I'm shocked as much as you. Now, artwork-wise, that is where the series or this episode takes a big hit. The art was pretty good. It was good for majority of the episode. Animation was okay too. But there were certain iconic scenes that did not look as good as its manga counterpart. And I believe at the end of the day, what it really does come down to, the more I think about it, it's just Ishida's art cannot be replicated in anime form. It's very similar to Kintaro from Berserk, and how his art is just so godlike, so good, that it would just take a miracle to really replicate that level of artwork in an anime. And so, I just feel like the more I look at the anime, the more I realize that Ishida's art is just so different and weird compared to the normal manga. You just cannot properly animate and give art to that and bring life to it through animation. It's not that easy. And I can kind of for the most part, let it slide as well. But, the Uri stuff, when Uri was going crazy and stuff and he was attacking Big Madam, I love that scene. Oh my god, whoever worked on that scene, the part of the team, the production team that worked on that scene where Ure was doing the mental breakdown, and he was like, me, and all that, credit, and you just saw, the words all behind him. That was exactly like the manga, and the way it was delivered was spot on with the voice actor, which just impressed me. If there is one thing that this series has been very consistent with, it's the fact that the music and the voice acting has been spot on. The voice acting has been on a whole other level. Sato's voice actor, to Kaneki's voice actor, to, Psycho's voice actor, Shirazu, Nutcracker, Hinami, just their voice acting has been incredible. And that scene, the way Uri's, voice actor was when he was mentally breaking down and Mutsuki was watching it, I thought that was pretty freaking impressive. And just the animation of it blew me away. I was just really surprised to see them put that level of quality in that scene. Probably my best scene of the episode, my favorite scene of the episode while watching. Now, speaking of scenes and stuff, Mutsuki got a hint at her being a female finally. Yeah, they actually did that. And if you watched my my last week's episode review, then you're probably gonna understand the context of this line from Uri when he was like, "Oh, this smell and all that." I see. What he's smelling is period. He's smelling the blood. That's what he's smelling. And that's what conclusion he comes to. And as I talked about in my last, episode review, they cut out the scene to where she realized she was going through her monthly cycle. And that was completely axed. Once again, removed the fact that she was a female. But with that scene, there's not any context to it. There's no context at all. If you're an anime only, you're not going to understand anything from that scene. But at the same time, I appreciate the fact that they added it, because at the very least that it is a nod to the fact they were acknowledging that Mutsuki is a woman. So yeah, that's very, very satisfying. I'm pretty happy with this episode. It's a really good step in the right direction, and I don't give praise lightly to the Tokyo Ghoul anime. If you know me as a person, you've been around for a while, you know I usually dislike the anime with a passion. But I'm praising this episode for how good it was done. So, good job. Good job. The production team, the people that outsourced and worked on this and all that, Studio Clown, you got the proper team, even if it was outsourced. You got a good team to work on it. Good job on you. You did a good job with this. So, I would like to see the same team work on this. No joke, I would like to see the team that worked on this episode work on the next episodes. That's how good it was. But with that, I think I'm going to end this video here, so let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoy my content, please subscribe. If you like this video, please leave a like. Chibi out.